stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, senior editor over at thecoalition.com.
My name is Lawrence, aka a punk with toys on all the social media. And we're back with episode 2 already. It's like you guys just finished watching us.
Yeah, like just a few minutes ago. This is so crazy.
Yeah, actually a couple of days between us. That's why we have
that is true.
different shirts and everything.
Exactly. I took a shower this month. Smell fresh. Yes.
Every Wednesday and Saturday is shower.
That's it. Got to conserve water. Oh boy. But yeah, here we go, people. This is Murderbot season 1, episode 2. Eye contact, which is funny because, like, do you make a lot of eye contact? Are you big into that?
It doesn't bother me. I would say I make eye contact pretty well, but sometimes it becomes creepy when someone is constantly looking at you eye to eye. Like, I hate when people don't make eye contact, but I'm in and out of office fixing copy machines and you're talking to the contact. And sometimes you're like, can you stop? Like, look elsewhere. Like, look down here. Look at this.
As long as they're not eating a banana and making eye contact. There's certain things, right? You gotta, hey, what are you doing? You know, but yeah, too much eye contact can make you feel uncomfortable.
I'm a big eye contact person.
Okay. They say that for interviews, right? They always say it's like, hey, be affirmative with the handshake, firm handshake, make eye contact.
Handshakes are huge. All right. No one wants that noodle handshake. And again, I'm a small guy, so I have small hands. So, but also don't try and crush someone's hand. Just give them a firm handshake. Eye contact, firm handshake.
No wink, though. Don't do the wink. I know some people that would do the wink. I had a buddy who was a big winker. And that was like his only. He's like, hey, I was like, what's that? What are you doing? I don't know. It's just like it's like a nod instead of just someone. Some people, when they give a handshake, they give like a little UK nod, like, oh, hello, But he would do, he would shake the hand and then he'd give like a little wink with his right eye. So he would shake a hand and go, I'm like, yeah, that's too much. I got the handshake. I got it. We're making the eye contact. I don't need it's almost like an episode of Seinfeld with handshake, nod, handshake, wink, and nod. What are you doing?
I've never seen an episode of Seinfeld.
That is crazy.
I've tried watching it, and I think it's completely unfunny.
What?
Yeah. I've tried it. I'm like, I don't find Jerry Seinfeld funny at all. You would think that I would love it because I love the movie UHF, which is where Kramer came from. It's basically that exact same character. Yeah, I've tried watching it. I don't think a lot of those people, I don't care for the actors.
Wow.
But I've tried watching it and I'm just like, there's nothing funny about this.
Wow. See, there we go. Now we're losing all our subs. And on that note, people, please like and subscribe. We know you guys are out there. We love it. Thank you so much. We see the watch hours. They're up. Everyone's here. That's great. We love it. Just if you can just at least subscribe. Just subscribe. Because then that way we can keep track. It just helps us. Go ahead.
It's a small thing to do for you, but it is huge for the channel growing, the algorithm, for YouTube to say, hey, you know what? People are liking this. And I don't know if anyone else is going to be talking about this show, but they should be.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. We're very excited to find that out because, as we mentioned before, what we do know is that it's based off of a book series. I guess it's pretty popular for Apple to pick this up and say, hey, you deserve your own show. Here we go. So, yeah, I'm curious to see if it's just people that are familiar with the source materials jumping in, or if you're into sci-fi and comedy and stuff, this is definitely one to watch. And it's an easy watch. It's only 30 minutes long. An episode.
I have to say, 2 episodes into it so far, and it's comical, but it's definitely not a comedy.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. I think both episodes have left me wondering what's going to happen. Like, and so far, like, I know we've done Talking Reacher, we've done Mobland, and within the first 2 episodes, we were kind of like, I think I have no idea what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have no idea. Something's going to happen, and it gets into that in this episode. So, poof, there we go. So we got that housekeeping out of the way. He already said it. We cover Mobland. So if you're new to the channel altogether, you can take a look. We got Mobland. My brother and I are covering The Last of Us. That's going on. But yeah, this is it. This is our new one here for Murderbot over on Apple Plus, if you were wondering where to watch it.
Yeah, we should probably tell people that.
Yeah. That's very helpful. Yeah, I think I dropped
that. Was one of the things. I made the thumbnail and he said, "Can you make it so?" Because I covered up, just people wondering, like, what are they talking about? I covered up Apple TV thinking that, well, people don't want to see that. We'll put our logo. And Adam was like, can you change that? Because I think Apple's going to want, you kind of forget that, oh, hey, they are granting us access. So Apple, I apologize for something you would have never known until I just brought it up.
Exactly. Why'd you bring it up? That's it. Let me tell the AI bot. AI bot, edit this out. There we go. Done.
I'm very transparent about things.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's just speaking of that, let's just jump into this. So I was gonna say we could leave off from where the last episode, but we don't. We see Mensah and Pinley and everyone pretty much except Bard, I should say, who got that chunk bitten out of her. They're all in a room and they're talking about getting ready for their next survey out on the planet's surface there. And the big topic is SecBot or no SecBot. And I think we should bring this up. Do we say SecBot or Murderbot? What do you say? Because we're gonna flip around.
I think it's gonna. Okay, he's not a Murderbot yet. Man, I know it's called. But they refer to him as SecBot, so I think that's what we should refer to him until something otherwise is taken.
Otherwise. All right, so there you go, people. So because like he pointed out, and you guys have noticed, Murderbot. In fact, he only called himself Murderbot that one time during the episode of
and we don't know why.
I'm telling you,
something happened.
Yeah, it has to be related to his flashbacks. I bet you that's what it is. It's like it's sort of triggering, like, oh, I think I kill people, or I did before. I'm a Murderbot. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, we'll just go with that, SecBot. So the question is, she's wondering, do we bring SecBot or not? Gareth has his own plans. He doesn't want SecBot to go out there because he wants to spend some quality time and get creepy with this thing. So that's the big topic here. But go ahead.
But it also seems a little weird. Like, why would you not want to take the Murderbot or whatever you want to call it? Because you've already seen what danger is on this planet, right?
Well, that was our discussion when we were watching it. It was like, who was in the room? All right, Bard was not there, but Arata was there, and she saw this big monster thing that ripped out of the ground like a sandworm. And you would think she would bring that up. I was like, hey, you didn't see what we saw. This thing was massive. This is a big creature, and it saved Bard. Doesn't defend SecBot at all. It's just like, well, it's your call, whatever. And so they decide Mensah's going to go out there with Bard. And no, SecBot's not going. So
well, yeah, and that's because B just happens to show up. Bard, she just happens to show up. Yep. She's been healing. She's talking about how wonderful I don't know
she's at the med unit.
The med unit.
And she had a big bite, and I'm assuming this is just within a few hours because they didn't say days went by. It seemed like it was fairly short. So
well, no, she's still healing.
But she could still walk around and stuff. I would think after an attack like that, you're
but I'm saying he's still healing. So
yeah. That's right. Long. Yeah, he's generating new parts as he described it.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that happened. Yeah, that's after the intro. We get the crazy intro again. Him floating in space, ragdolling all around, which brought up that idea in my head, wondering can he fly if he's in space? Does he have like little jetpacks in his boots? No.
Remember, he talked about how he can't get very far in this ship, so I can't imagine he could fly. But maybe for sure, that'd be kind of weird. But they do show him crashing in the opening.
All right. So yeah, he's waiting for his parts to come in. They're still generating, but one of the cool things that we notice he can do is that he can tap into the feeds for all the rooms. And he spies on everybody. And he could hear everyone talking all the smack about him, whether to bring him or not. He adds his own narrative, which is fun. Again, that always whenever I hear internal narrative like this, I think of two things because I'm old. I think of the Wonder Years, right? Remember, he used to do it all the time. Fred Savage had his little, right? It was an older version, always recollecting of all the. And then I think of Dexter. So those are the two. They always trigger, especially with Dexter, because Dexter would have all these like, oh, if only I can rip this guy's throat out. And he's like, oh, everything is great. I'm having a great time. I want to kill him right now. So we get a lot of that with this, right? Because while that's all going on, this is where it's a pretty lengthy segment. It cuts back and forth, but this is the beginning of it with Gareth, and he wants the SecBot to join him in his quarters.
Yeah. And so we do get is it Mensah and Bard like flying away, like they're heading out to
do their survey in the hopper. That ship is called
their SecBot. Again, these things aren't the size of like a warthog. They are giant centipedes with 2 mouths.
Yeah, and it's upsetting. And it's, as you can see, we're bothered by the fact that no one mentions how massive these things are. I'm telling you, I'm sure if you and we saw this, that's the first thing we're telling everybody. Oh, we saw this massive worm thing come out of the ground. It was huge. It had tentacles.
Well, first off, we're guys, so we always exaggerate the size.
Whoa. Yeah, that's true. And it had 2 heads. What? No. Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, you are right. So this is kind of where we get the
creep session with Gareth.
Yeah, and I'm with you. You kind of mentioned like I thought this was going in another direction. I'm glad it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also seen, because he is naked a bunch, that he does not have any equipment down there.
Yeah. And one of the things that starts off that shows that it's getting into that creep factor with Gareth is that once he tells the SecBot to come in, he's like, show your face. Now that I know you have a face, I want to see you. And then that leads to the title of the episode, Eye Contact, because he keeps wanting to stare at him.
Yes. Very, very adamant about this whole eye contact thing. Which then, again, so I was a little confused. If he has to do everything they say, does that mean he's just constantly going to stare at him the whole time?
If he wants him to. Well, that's the thing, because he is self-aware. So if he decides to break character, we might as well just say it that way, break character of being just a regular sec robot, then he could, but he has to stay that he's still in that realm. He's still being controlled or whatever. And so he can't do it. But yeah, the guy wants to just stare at him, and he notices, like, hey, I see you don't like eye contact. And he's like, well, who does? Right? He's talking to himself. It doesn't make any sense. Why does he's acting weird? This is awkward, and even for the robot to realize it. But he does have to make contact, and it's weird. But then at that point, it then jumps, because we're going back and forth through 3 different areas. We have Gareth and the Sec Robot in the room. We have Mensah and Bard. They're about to land on the other side of the planet. And then we have Pin Lee and Arata in their room. Right. So these are the 3. Yep. Go ahead.
I threw this picture in because it's the only time that they're flying there. I don't remember them doing like this high five. Maybe I was writing something down and I missed it.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, people. Leave in the comments if you remember this scene. If not, then
high five. I had a picture. I want to throw it in there.
Yeah, like what would the high five? Like, all right, let's say.
Well, they're like holding hands. Like maybe like yes, I don't know. You'd be happy about like you didn't die.
Either that or you're agreeing to go on the mission, and it was like, all right, we're all in, all hands in. Yeah, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, mission. I don't know. Something cheesy like that. But what was it? He mentioned Gareth also talks about their location, the community they're from. Something Alliance.
Yeah.
What was it? I wrote it down somewhere here.
But
Preservance.
But quickly, you talked about Pinley and Arata. They're talking about a contract that they.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like a marriage contract, is what I think it is. I think
maybe because they said, what was it? That someone lost their contract because they said it was neglected or something like that,
I
or
know a lot of people have lost their contract.
right? Exactly. Imagine that. It's like, yeah, me and my contract with this. So it's something to that effect because then she's like, oh, what? And she gets super excited. And we even had to rewind. It was like, what exactly?
Yeah.
They don't mention someone else's name. So maybe it is that. Maybe she was previously married. That's her wishing a divorce went through, or if it's a new job.
And I want to say this. Here's gonna be my maybe my first complaint. This the stuff between Pinley and Arata, there's like no chemistry at all. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
usually when you put a couple together, you see some sort of chemistry. I don't see it now. Maybe that's because what comes a little bit later, but I just don't see a lot of chemistry going on there. So, but then we move to the Murderbot because let's be honest. I'm sorry.
SecUnit.
Yes.
All right. So yeah. So then we get some more awkward conversation moments here where he says he notices something's going on with the SecUnit. And instantly now SecUnit's thinking, oh, he's on to me. I'm going to have to kill him or whatever. He's got all these things rambling through his head. But it really comes down to the Gareth wants to know more about him. He's like, what is it like being you? Like, well, he has nothing else to compare it to. What kind of question is that? You know, it's like, I don't know. What is it like to be you? This is who I am. But then, sound like you were gonna say something.
No.
Oh yeah. Because that was it. Because then this is again leads to some more creepy conversation because he's just talking about are there other units that were doing other things like well yeah there was a sex unit out there and some other bots that go on there for
that's when we were like
and stuff, and that's what we were thinking. Oh, this is the setup, right? That's what's going on. He's asking, and then he was trying to answer. He's like, "Oh, tell me about your past and stuff." Because he was like, "I'm a refurb," and he says, "It's like, oh, can you remember?" No, I can't. And then we get the flashbacks of him just shooting, or another SecUnit just shooting at people running for their lives. So he clearly knows some of it, not all of it. Doesn't want to give that info, but he also notices that. And this is interesting that Gareth can still, because of his augments, can probe into the SecUnit's mind.
Yes.
While they're communicating. This is, and I'm going to ask you about this because this I wasn't too sure about. So when he said he was going to probe in, and then SecUnit was like, I'm going to give him something to look at that'll probably distract him before he starts digging into my memories and stuff, which he doesn't even really know. And he shows that scene of Rothley, of Pinley and Arata and Rothy just like messing around, all three of them just going at it. Now, is that an old clip or is that current?
No, because they were signing the contract.
They were signing it. So
he was the witness, so he was putting his thumb for the contract, and then that's when you see. So if you remember correctly, in the first episode, he says that
they had a thing.
Yeah, Pinley is like in love with Arata, but Arata wants to be with Rothy, and Rothy has a thing for Pinley.
Yeah.
But Arata and Pinley are the ones together. So during this, out of nowhere, Arata just starts kissing Rothy. And then a very awkward, which made me feel awkward. Pinley's like trying to also
jump in.
And I'm like,
I don't know.
This may be the worst threesome ever. Like,
exactly.
This is one of those ones when you're watching late at night and you're like, all right, I gotta go to another video.
and then this goes full circle to your whole thing of the chemistry thing, because maybe that's where it comes up, because you're like, man, this doesn't flow. It doesn't have a natural. That's kind of
what I'm thinking. Like they already said that. Arata has a thing for, Rothy, but maybe not so much for Pinley. Maybe that's just out of convenience. They've been together, so she thinks she has to stay. It looks like we're gonna get a throuple, though.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. We'll see, but it was really funny the way, like you said, you got Rothy and Arata, and Pinley's just like trying to find space, like me.
She looks like it looks like when you see like a husband and wife are like hugging each other and then like the little kids just trying to jump in because they've missed.
I had a friend of mine had a pit bull, a female pit bull, And she would do that. My buddy would be like, "Oh, watch this." So him and his girlfriend would get on the couch, and she would hug him, and the pit bull would just jump right between them and just not bite or anything, but just like shove the head right in between the arms. Like, oh. She was very protective of him. It's like, yeah. So
I have no idea what you mean.
See, so yeah. All right. So then while that's happening, we jump back to Mensah and Bard. Right, they land. Mensah wants to go out and explore. Bard's like, "I'm ready to go with you." Already, we had Mensah give her the side eye when they were back on the ship at the hopper en route. She doesn't believe she's ready.
Yeah,
so she was like, "You stay back. I'm just gonna go out there, do some surveying. Everything is fine, and we'll just take it from there." But once that happens, you know something's gonna happen, right?
So this was kind of awkward because Bard here. Well, Mensah says something about what she does, and then she was like, "What are you trying to say about that?" And this whole time, all Mensah wants to do is go on her own. And I don't know if it's just because she thinks Bard was out there. She's in charge, so I think she feels responsible for what happened. So she'd rather go out on her own, which doesn't seem to be the greatest idea.
No. Well, she does terraforming, and that was the whole thing. She was like, "Oh, you're a terraform. You're not a scientist like me. It doesn't matter. I can do your job too. You know, I'm like you said. She's the boss. She's in charge of this. She can function on her own. But yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe she wants to just go on her own and experience some things. But again,
that's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, man. But Barb should have mentioned. By the way, that creature was big. Again, bring it up again. I'm going to keep dwelling on it because the fact that no one says it. No one describes this creature. They call it an animal.
Never once. Yeah, they say, "Hey, that thing was kind of large."
Yeah.
And by large, I mean, do you ever see that movie Tremors? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Big creatures coming out.
So,
all right. So then we have that. Then I think we went back to Gareth because Gareth throughout the whole episode it keeps splicing in. That conversation feels like it's going on forever.
Yeah.
Just all this awkwardness talking about all stuff. So that Gareth saw all that stuff going on, and SecUnit was right. That instantly turned him off, and he was like, "Oh, well, you know what? I think this is enough for now." And there goes that. Everything is fine. Whatever. But then
Gurathin is already a. You can tell he's socially awkward to begin with. And then he has these enhancements put in, which probably are just adding on to his awkwardness. Is how I gather.
Well, why did he get these augments? That I'm sure that plays a factor also. And I'll bring it up now. This is the best part to bring it up in is that when I brought up before we went on camera, is that I think that it's not so much that he's trying to get sexual with the SecUnit, but he wants to be like the SecUnit. That's why he got the augments. He wants to be a robot in any way he can. And he's jealous, and I think that's his big thing with it.
And he knows that he's not nearly as fast. He's not as smart, but he also doesn't realize how self-aware and self-conscious our SecBot has become.
Yeah, if this was a Star Trek Next Generation, Gareth would try to kill Data. He would try to kill him because he can't be him, and he would feel threatened. And I don't think he can kill the SecBot, but he knows that he has the power to tell him what to do, and he has to do it.
Yeah.
Like even with the eye contact, there was that one scene where he says, "All right, you have to follow all my orders, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have to follow. Okay, then just make eye contact." And then they just for a while just staring at each other.
So now the one thing we did kind of skip over quickly was one of the things that Gareth sits here and grills him on is how did he know what to say? Because they're able to also see. And he goes back to watching the Sanctuary Moon flashback.
Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon. That's it. The Rise and Fall. So I think you're right. We're going to get that spliced in every episode.
Yeah, which that's where he learned what to say just to make it less awkward. And again, it makes sense, right? Why wouldn't you? He's adapting. He's, completely learning. So
that's it. Preservation's Alliance. That was the name of the community that they're part of, because that's when he started talking about how they have AI. They see AI as people. And that's why they were against the whole SecUnit, because you're seen as a robot and property. But in our community, you would be considered as a person. So that was that whole thing. But yeah, it's weird because then even after they do the eye contact, here, now wasn't that all right? That wasn't too bad. And it's like, why? But why? Why do you need this connection with them?
Yeah, so then we flip back to Mensah, who has gone out on her own. She's not walking like the plane. She's walking, or she's struggling, climbing up this. I wouldn't say super.
It looks like a sandstorm or something's happening.
Yeah. And this is where the SecBot starts noticing something's going on.
He gets a pin of danger. I guess they have some kind of tracking or something, because he says that he's got a pin coming in that she's in danger. And so trying to figure that out. We find out Barb is trying to communicate. Go ahead.
So does Barb tell her that she's tracking something? Because
it was breaking up.
Okay,
yeah, it was breaking
up.
Yeah, it was breaking up. She couldn't tell, and it was breaking up. And then the big creature comes out. They call it an animal, but we'll call it like the sandworm. And it just like with its tentacled arms or whatever, it goes, and I was like, oh, this is it. Mensah's gone. They're just gonna eat it. She's gonna get eaten right now. But no,
that's actually what I thought was going to happen. Because again, I think when it comes to TV shows, and we've seen it in The Walking Dead and other shows like that, when you kill off one of the main characters right away, it takes away that sense of, hey, everyone's going to survive this series. But they didn't do that, and they led to something a little bit more as this thing went right over her.
Yeah, that was weird. At first, when I saw it, I was like, well, maybe it went down. Did it like jump? How did it? How did
it
they?
Look like it just went over her, and then it went down the hill.
It was a weird cut, but yeah, then you see it go down and burrow down, and then it disappears, and then we see a drone that was up top.
Yep,
and that was a drone that Barb sent over because that's how she was tracking the whole thing, and then it explodes.
Which we still don't know why it exploded.
No, we don't know. And then while all this is happening, SecUnit is like asking Gareth for permission to go help out at the hopper, and he's like, oh yeah, go. And then off he goes. But then he made another remark that he's not done with this. Like he's going to continue on being creepy,
Yeah.
But
and the SecBot's just worried. Like, he doesn't want to be found out. He doesn't want to be melted down. He literally just wants to sit down and watch TV.
That's the rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon. I want to watch that too. And who knows? Who knows? I would be. You know what? It's like what was it?
The Orville.
The Orville. But remember the Simpsons that had those little skets. Not the Simpsons. Sorry, it was Simpsons came from it.
The Tracy Ullman show.
Tracy Ullman show. Remember, it was Tracy Ullman show, and then in between they would skits. They would have the little animated. That's where we got the Simpsons, and that took off. What if something like this happens? What if there's enough demand from what we've seen from the different splices that we've seen from this show that they say, you know what, why not? And it's very possible because these are name actors, as you pointed out in the last episode. So they're not just putting any old, we got some extra actors. These are known actors playing these roles. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing it. So
and here he is. He's worried that Gurathin might probe into his mind. He actually kind of snaps at him. He says, hey, I'll just look into these files of what happened before you, after you were, had your memory wiped, just like R2D2 and C3PO. And he snaps at him. He's like, no. And he's like, whoa. And this is where you're obviously seeing, like, he's adapting, he's evolving, he has feelings, he has expression, and probably not something they were expecting.
Well, that was one of the things in that back and forth conversation that Gareth pointed out. He was like, you were talking about all this stuff. He was like, oh, that small talk that's trying to, calm people down. And really, he learned it from the show. That's what he said. That was the cover. Yeah. So, yeah, he notices something's going on with this. And the fact that he snaps back the way he does, or the way he did, it's like he's breaking character. And I think eventually he's going to have to come clean to someone that he is his own person. I have a feeling it will be Gareth that he opens up. Just because Gareth is the only one really probing. Because even though Mensah sort of says at the beginning of this episode, I think he's going through something. Remember,
I mean, I could see it being Bard because even though she was kind of creeped out, she is the one that says he did save my life.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess there's a few people. I don't think it's gonna be the throuple. I think they're eliminated.
No. Yeah, I'm
changing,
getting them out. Yeah. It seems like everything's okay. The next scene we get is that they're back. We see Gareth and Mensah. She comes in. She just runs right past him. He's asks everything okay. She goes into the room and then she comes out and says, I just need to take a shower. Then we'll talk and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. But basically, once they get together, they're trying to figure out what happened. What blew up the drone? Rothy brings up aliens. It's like, maybe it's aliens. And I'm like, well, it's illegal to deal with anything alien related. You got to get the government involved, all this other stuff. And then that's when Mensah brings up there is another unit, Delta Crew or Delta. That's
something like that.
Yeah, right. It was something Delta. If not, go ahead in the comments if you heard it different, but definitely with a D. There's another survey unit that's out on the other side of the planet. And they were like, well, maybe something that they're aware of and they're familiar with this. And let's reach out and contact them. It's like, yeah, why not? And so we get that and I see where they're calling, Delta, are you there? Delta. And then we see from their perspective, and they're dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
It did not look like from an animal. It looked like there was from some sort of, whether it be shots or something killed them. And like I said, not like a mauling or anything.
Yeah. No, it definitely wasn't like the big earthworm, sandworm that we saw at
It was not Earthworm Jim.
Nope, not Earthworm Jim. Man, he was so creepy looking. He looked like a stringy booger, with the head. Oh, I hated it. Now it's stuck in my head. Thanks a lot. Oh, he was so creepy. Oh man. But so then
but this is from the point of the SecBot. He's watching them do this. So he's tapped into everything. Like so which makes then ask the question is Gurathin, is he also tapped into things? Because it sure seems like he is. Well, maybe not as much.
I don't know if he has access to the camera systems in their ship like the way the SecBot has, because that's part of his job. He is the security. But I wonder, if he can tap into SecBot's mind, if that's one of the parts he's going to try to gain access to, so that way he can see and say, oh, wait a minute, because I don't think the crew know this. They don't know that the SecUnit can see them and is watching.
I don't think so.
So that's when Mensah says, you know what, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna bring the SecUnit. Just what could go wrong? And he's like, what could go wrong?
Well, she says, and I'm gonna bring the SecUnit this time. He's like, yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Now I'm confused on why you would want to be like, all right, we should go explore what's going on. I feel like it's already kind of shady.
And not even that, if we think back from the first episode and even how he got there, remember we talked about how it's a requirement to have the SecUnit part of their expedition. If they bring up the fact that with the injury and all that stuff, they're going to say, like, let's say with the drone, and like, where was the SecUnit? We didn't bring him. That's it. You're defunded. It's over. Voided out. Why didn't you bring him? Oh, because our augment dude wanted to get creepy with it and wanted some alone time. So we were like, yeah, why not? All right, because think about there's no reason. If you leave the ship, I would think every time you leave, that SecUnit needs to be with you like a bodyguard.
I would make sure. I would want maybe 2 or 3 more.
2 or 3 more. That could be pricey.
And that's kind of how it ends. That there's not much to the episode.
No.
Much easier than episode 1, where he's explaining so much and we're trying to get to learn the characters. That wasn't so much in this one.
Yeah, and it looks like we're not going to deal. At first, once they said, oh, Delta, I'm like, oh, man, a whole other group of people. Nope, they're all dead. We don't have to worry about that. We'll maybe get some flashbacks. Maybe there's a survivor here and there. But, it looks like the majority of the crew is the cast for the show. At least what we could also see on IMDb as well. So That's good. And it's like that with most shows, you got to get familiar with the cast members, get their names right. I think we're still going to end up butchering their names.
Oh,
so we're not the only ones out there, but we're not doing it out of disrespect. It's just, it doesn't flow off the tongue for some of these names.
We know Arata.
Yeah, Arata.
And Mensah. Penley. Really easy.
Penley's an easy one.
Murderbot.
Rothy, right? That's the dude with the beard.
Gurathin.
Bard was the one that we were having some Bard's Walla.
Well, that's because it's spelled. So it's Baradar, I think. It's spelled BHARADWAJ. Now, again, they're just throwing letters.
Who knows? I mean, we may look it up, and it could be a very popular name in some part of the world. I don't know. I've never met him. But hey, that's it. We get it. We're Bob this one. But overall, we're drifting. The show was good. This episode, it was good. We got some things. What did we learn? We learned Gareth is creepy. He has a thing for the SecUnit. Okay. We learned that whole thing that the SecUnit, how he can detect heart rate and figure out who's really into who is correct, because we saw that with Arata and Penley and Rothy. All right. So he was on point with that. We see that Mensah, the team leader, does want to have some kind of connection with the SecUnit. She wants to really bring him into the crew and not just as a unit, which makes sense because of where they're from, that alliance that they're part of. And as Gareth had said, is like they see AI as people. And that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to see him and incorporate him into the group as one of the crew, as a person. But the rest of the crew, for some reason, is still suspicious, which that I still am suspicious about. In general, that makes it why he saved, Bard's life and Arata. So
while watching TV.
Yeah, while watching TV. Oh, come on. He can multitask.
So I will say this. I think that what he is seeing, so I'll put this on record, I think what he's seeing is somebody else's memory.
Okay, so you think that he's not the killer? He's seeing.
Maybe he was tapped into it, so that's what he's seeing. But because of whatever happened, his mind had to be, or his mind, whatever, had to be wiped out. Maybe the other guy was actually the one that was melted down. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, people. Right before you do your like and subscribe, because you got to do that, please, people. Put in a comment. What do you think about these memories? Do you think these memories are his memories, or do you think they're? Because that's the other thing. What if it's refurb? We dealt with refurb. You can take parts from other chips from other boards and stick them on. What if that's the case? What if his SSD is from another? There you go. It's from another board. And it's not even him. So that could be. It could be. But I do want to see him live up to the name, and I want to see him murder. Not necessarily people. He can murder creatures too and still be called a Murderbot.
Yeah, I'd rather him not murder the crew here. Because he already, in the last episode, he talked about how, hey, these guys really aren't that bad.
Yeah. And he could do it, but there's nowhere for him to go. So
exactly.
I guess there is a kill switch that they could, the company can activate and just and turn them off. But anyway, there we go. That was our coverage for Murderbot episode 2, Eye Contact. And made it this far again. Thank you. Please click that like and subscribe and a comment. And then we'll be back next week for episode 3. And then we're still covering Mobland. By the time this comes out, we'll be up to episode 8. I'll probably have that pinned somewhere up here, so you can check that out. And that's it. Anything else you want to say?
I was looking to see what the name of the next episode was, but of course,
I think IMDb already has it.
Yeah. So the next episode is doesn't have a name.
Nice. I got a spoiler. It's called episode 3. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Got it. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week. Thanks again.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye.